Hello and welcome back to the Fit 40 podcast, where we simplify exercise and nutrition for busy parents 40 plus so they can improve their health and feel amazing. I'm your host, Brian Fitzsimmons, certified personal trainer and nutrition coach for people over 40 since 2015. And today we have an awesome topic. We're going to be talking about sleep because it is that time of year where schedules get crazy. We're hitting busy seasons, and usually when this all happens, our sleep is going to be sacrificed. So if your sleep is absolute garbage right now, welcome to the No Fun Club, but we're going to talk about exactly how to fix that going forward. All right. So before we jump in, make sure to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're watching or listening so that way you don't miss another episode. Just got to get that in there every single episode. If you're not following already, then what the heck are you doing? Okay, get on there. That way you don't have to really think about it and search these up every time. Now, let's get on with the show. So if we have absolute trash sleep, what do we do? Well, first, we got to identify the problem. Now, I know the reason I picked this topic in particular is because right now, at this current moment, I feel like I jinxed myself with how to increase your energy in the previous episode, maybe 3 or 4 ago. But since that time, I've gotten pretty busy in a good way. Like, I'm very thankful for it and I wouldn't change a thing. But because of the busyness, I have sacrificed sleep. And the reason that I'm doing that is because, number one, I got to get up earlier because I have a 6 a.m. client pretty much Monday through Saturday every single day, and totally good with doing that. But along with that, there's extra work to be getting done during the day. And right now, my fiance happens to be on a tough rotation, so she's back later at night. So we're pushing how late we go to bed because we want to spend quality time together and be able to see each other and be present and have some time to watch shows, just chill on the couch and whatever. And because we're doing that, I am waking up feeling really low energy and not showing up how I personally want to. So that's what I got going on right now. But I know when it comes to clients, like a lot of times it is irregular schedules. Maybe they're like my fiance who has a work schedule where it changes week to week, rotation to rotation. And some weeks you get great amounts of sleep and other weeks you got to go really low and you're kind of up, down all over the place like shift work. A lot of times it could be due to just being sedentary, like not having any activity. So you don't have any reason to really be tired at the end of the day, or you don't get any sunlight on top of that. So now your circadian rhythm might be a little bit off, a little bit funky because you literally haven't seen any light during the day to let your body know, hey, it's daytime. And then you go home and it's just screen after screen after screen instead of here's the sunlight, here's the darkness, and we get into that flow throughout the day. Caffeine, I know I've been abusing the heck out of that lately. Some of us are just living off of caffeine to drive our energy levels, and it's operating like a Band-Aid. It's not giving us anything other than this brief moment of, okay, I don't feel extremely tired. It's not, I feel wired and energized. It's, I'm at my baseline, and without it, I feel like crap. Not a good thing. Screen time, if we have a ton of screen time, especially late at night, then that could be an issue. Kids disrupting sleep, because kids are good for many things, but one big thing is completely getting in the way of good quality sleep. And temperature changes are another big one, being that we're shifting from fall into winter, not really fall into winter, but like end of summer into fall into winter. We're kind of in that transition zone where different places are getting hit with the cold faster than others. And that adjustment period sometimes can really mess with your sleep just because we're out of the norm. And also light at night. So depending on where you live, some places are getting a whole lot more sunlight and some places are getting a whole lot less. And again, just the adjustment period, it can mess with things. Along with that, for the menopause crowd, love you guys, but those hormonal changes are going to make things a lot harder as far as like getting good sleep, things like hot flashes, night sweats, stress, racing thoughts, things like that, keeping us up at night. And the end result of all of this is, number one, if you are training, you are going to be really hit hard on the recovery side of things. So you're going to be a lot more sore than you otherwise would be. And you're kind of setting yourself up for injuries because we have a very direct correlation when it comes to hours of sleep and injury rates. As the hours of sleep go down, injury rates start to climb up when we see this in athletes. So if we're not an athlete and just an average person, and this spike in activity when we're doing our workouts or whatever, and the drop in recoverability, it's almost going to be potentially worse than if we were doing it with athletes, because it's going to go from all like pretty much nothing to everything right away once you get back to those workouts, because you might have taken some time off due to not feeling like you have the energy for it. And that could create a shitstorm of problems. Okay. Along with that, we got more hunger. Even if you eat the exact same amount of calories, if you are sleep deprived versus not sleep deprived, if you are in that sleep deprivation category, eating the same amount of calories, you will feel more hungry and you are more likely to make decisions that fall in line with trying to seek out comfort, trying to get that thing that's super tasty and that you know you want, but you usually are like making a more sane decision to say, no, I need to eat this, not that, because this is going to get me closer to my goals rather than that. But when you're sleep deprived, you're like, nope, I just want something comfy. I want something quick. I want something easy. Give it to me now. Don't care. And we don't want that to happen either, because that's going to end up putting us in a position where we're gaining fat in places that we don't want it, because when we're sleep deprived, our hormones also take a gigantic hit, and it's creating this environment for storing the fat in places like our belly and other areas that we just are always kind of picking apart. So we don't want that to happen. And along with all of that, poor mood regulation. We're not able to show up for the people that we care about the most. Like, I know my temper is a little bit short when I'm sleep deprived, and I just don't show up in a way that I want to keep showing up day after day after day for my fiance, for my clients. It's just not who I want to be. And I know many people who miss out on sleep find themselves in the same category. Like, maybe you're not showing up for your kids in the same way. Maybe you're not giving them the attention that they deserve because you just don't have the mental energy for it. You don't have the ability to be like, okay, I'm here, I'm present, rather than feeling like a zombie. So this stuff can make a big difference when we can get ourselves on the right track. So let's talk about the fix. Like, what actually works in situations like this. Number one, quickest, easiest one to implement is just some sort of a bedtime routine. Just making sure that it's flexible and repeatable. It's not this long list of 20 things that you see some of these morning routines looking like. It should be travel friendly, something that you can do even on a work trip or on a vacation, something really simple. Okay. And along with all that, try to do things like limit screen time, or if you're not able to limit screen time because you got to get a lot of work done late at night, throw on some blue blockers. It could help. Stretch a little bit, some light stretching, reading, journaling. If you're a person that enjoys it, like, go into a hot shower or a hot bath right before bed. Something about just going right from the shower to the sheets, like, it feels so comfy and so nice. And that sensation of feeling like, okay, this is awesome, will potentially help you fall asleep a little bit faster as well. Because that contrast of like hot water into something that's a little bit cooler, it can potentially put us in a place, like when it comes to our nervous system, of calming it down. So big help when it comes to that. And then I know I had something else there, but I'll come back to it. Next is environment. Cool, dark, quiet. We want our room to be like a cave. So if you have the ability to control for temperature, try and keep it in a place where it's cool and the covers keep you warm, because that'll put us in a position to get our best sleep. And making sure that it's dark. If you can black out little lights here and there, the littlest light can catch your eye and wake you up more so than if you were in pitch black, because it's actually part of the sleep cycle to wake up periodically throughout the night. But if you don't see anything in your line of vision, then you just fall right back asleep. We don't even notice it, because if you're in a pitch black room, there's nothing to stimulate you. So really embrace the darkness if you can. And if you're the type of person that likes falling asleep to a TV or something like that, I know I have an aunt that will always do that. Set a timer on the TV where it'll come down and it'll turn itself off. Most TVs now have that. I know I've done that a few times, like where me and my fiance will be like laying in bed, because that was a compromise that we made, where I'm like, listen, I can't be on the couch until 10 at night, and then we go upstairs and it's like, say, 10:30 or 11, and I'm finally falling asleep, and then I'm waking up at 5. Like, that's not enough for me. So we made a compromise and said, okay, we'll watch TV, but we'll do it in bed. So that way we're up in bed around like 9 as opposed to 10, and I could just knock out and we're good. So if that's the case, like I did this with ours, you just hit that timer and say, hey, 30 minutes, 60 minutes from now, turn yourself off. That way you can fall asleep, and then it's already off. So if you do wake up again, it's not blaring in your face. So that can be very, very helpful too. Another thing would be like a fan to create some sort of blue noise, some white noise. We're going through the whole color spectrum today. Um, so the white noise can help a ton as well, just drowning out little stuff going on outside that might set us off and be like, oh, what's going on? Okay, little things that like animals outside or whatever might be doing, or maybe your kids are on their phone when they shouldn't be, and that little bit is catching your ear. Whereas if you have a white noise fan going, that'll kind of dull it out for you. And then blackout curtains, because some of us don't live in the best of places as far as light creeping into our apartment or our bedrooms where we have these lights outside. So if you can invest in some blackout curtains, that could go such a long way. I know it's an absolute game changer. When I first went from like normal curtains to blackout, I was like, wow, okay, this is a different level of dark. And when you get used to it, you're like, wow, I don't know how I was sleeping before this. I really don't. Next on the list is nutrition. So when it comes to a nutrition standpoint, first thing is limit the caffeine after noon. And I'm literally filming this intentionally right at around noon with my Celsius, because I need a little pick me up for the second half of the day. And that's 100% intentional, because I don't want to push it so late in the day that it messes with my sleep. So make sure noon is like your cutoff. And along with that, when it comes to like supplemental, if you are low in magnesium, getting some magnesium as a supplement can be very beneficial. But I would go by your doctor's recommendation, get the blood work, make sure that you actually need it before you supplement it. And last but not least is booze. Try to eliminate booze to the best of your ability. Yes, it does knock you out, but it destroys your quality of sleep. So yeah, you might rack up an extra hour or two, but that extra hour or two isn't going to be any better, and it's going to wreck whatever that, say, 4, 5, 6 hours would have been. So you're getting worse overall, even though you're sleeping longer. It's weird and it makes no sense, but booze wreck your sleep. So try to eliminate it as best you possibly can. Next is stress management. This goes really well with eliminating the booze, because a lot of people do get themselves to sleep with the booze because they're just so stressed out and they need something to bring themselves down. So let's shift that focus towards something that doesn't involve alcohol. It doesn't involve anything that's going to harm any part of our sleep or any other aspect of our life. And stress management drills can be extremely beneficial with this. So first off is like breathing drills. Something as simple as box breathing, where it's 4, 4, 4, 4. 4-second inhale, 4-second pause, 4-second exhale, 4-second pause, and just repeat that over and over again. And if you can't get to 4 seconds, you are one stressed out individual. All right. Now, it can take time. Like you probably will start off at like 2 or 3 seconds and you're like, okay, I really got to focus on this. And then you kind of get into a rhythm. And then when you get into that rhythm, it's like, okay, now I feel like I'm kind of in a zone. And then you naturally start to just fall into sleep. And that could be really nice. But like, let's say that's not doing it, or you want to try something else. Meditation can be beneficial too. Throwing on some guided meditation with any of the apps that are out there, or just having I like throwing on some yoga music and just kind of sitting with my thoughts and working through them. And another thing that I noticed helped a lot too is when you go through your thoughts and you're kind of done sorting through all of them, getting to a place where I kind of create a story in my head where it's like you're almost playing a movie for yourself and you're thinking of these different details, because that's actually a technique that can be used to put yourself to sleep, where you create this vision of what you're thinking about the very specific details, and that kind of puts you into a dreamlike state where you can knock out and almost like jump into that world. It won't be exactly like that, but it can help a little bit. And gratitude or journaling in general before bed can help a lot as well, just with getting that stuff out of your head. Like I was just talking about sitting with your thoughts. A lot of us just need that space to think through things and let them go. Like understanding what we have control over and being okay with letting go of the things we can't control. And as somebody in the health and fitness space, there's plenty going on politically right now that drives me absolutely nuts, that does actually affect my sleep. And I have to personally talk myself down and be like, let it go. You are not in a position where you can make any sort of change on these policies. You don't have that position of power. All you can do is all you can do. Like, all you can do at this moment is affect your circle in a positive way. And that's my clients, my family, my friends, and do the best that I can for them. And then when I'm allowed to vote, or when voting comes around, vote in the way that I can, get involved. If I can get involved in certain things going on in the area to promote policies that I am in favor of or not in favor of or whatever. And that's what I'm going to focus on. Not this person did this thing and I'm pissed at them and I hate it and I'm just going to sit in it and stew in it and it's going to wreck my life essentially. Okay, we got to get past that point and understand what we need to let go of and really focus on the things that are within our control. And that's what something like meditation and journaling can help with. And if you're struggling with letting it go, it could help to write it down and then cross it off, or like kind of the stereotypical when somebody breaks up with a boyfriend or girlfriend and they throw their picture in the garbage and set it on fire. That stuff does kind of work. So if I'm not saying to like set fire to your journal, I'm saying you could like physically cross it off, and that might provide some level of mental satisfaction where it's like, all right, that felt good. All right, it's worth a shot. And along with all this, we got special consideration for the menopause crowd when it comes to some simple fixes. One thing could be that fan again, just to have on you, because your temperature change is going to be varying throughout the night. So it can help having stuff for the cold and for the hot when you're tossing and turning. So if you are super duper hot, have that fan on you, like an individual fan if your partner isn't really big on that being that cold, and just having it on your nightstand can help. And then let's say you're going into the zone where you're feeling really cold, have some extra blankets ready to go. And then let's say you're really like you want to set the tone early on, getting something like a chili pad can help, but those are like expensive as hell. So there's a lot of other alternatives out there that do allow you to keep a cooler surface, and that can help too. And also having a change of clothes, because if you're going to be sweating through the clothes and you're really not comfortable, it's going to be really hard to fall back asleep. So along with it being harder to fall asleep, it's also going to mess up your sleep if you have to get up, if you have to turn some lights on or put your flashlight on, grab some clothes out of your drawer, like just have them ready to go. That way you could even change in bed. You could just like toss your shirt and your pants off or whatever and like throw a new pair on, and you're like, okay, I didn't even leave the bed, I feel like I could knock back out. And that'll be a whole lot easier than standing up and basically waking yourself up. Now, special consideration here. Sometimes when it comes to the fix, it could be just acceptance. And that is just accepting the fact that this is your life and we got to adjust the expectations. So when it comes to sleep, for example, maybe you just don't live a life that allows for that. And if your sleep is going to be affected, just accept the fact that you are going to have a harder time sticking to nutritional protocols. And you're going to have to set up boundaries like sticking to a calorie budget very rigorously, understanding that, like setting yourself up so you're in an environment that you can stick to that, understanding that you won't be able to put out as much effort in the gym, and you need to understand that you're not going to benefit past a certain amount of exercises or past a certain amount of workouts, because it's going to be so much stress that you're not going to get the adaptation that you want. So you're going to have to dial back. And if you're okay with that, that's cool. Like if you are working a job where you're like, hey, this is paying the bills and I can't afford to find a new job, or there's no new jobs out there, then it's like, okay, that's what we're dealing with. Let's accept it. Let's see what our limitations are and work. I know I talked about this with, I believe it was James Brennan. It might have been Shane McLean in the previous episodes, but that's like your sandbox. These issues that you're dealing with, your work schedule, your busy life, these are your boundaries. And when we have those boundaries all set, that's our sandbox. Let's play in it. So yeah, just understand that. And balancing life with your spouse and your kids, like, is it worth it? Right now, me sacrificing a little bit of sleep to spend more time with my fiance is worth it to me. And I'm okay feeling a little bit sluggish the next day because I understand that trade-off. I'm not in this victim mindset of, oh, I feel like crap and I don't know why. I have no control over the situation. It's like, no, this is an active choice that I'm making. And when you can make those active choices and come to grips with it, it's so much easier to deal with, and it puts you back in that power position. But that all being said, look down the road and ask yourself, is this worth what I'm doing right now? Like, is this job that is burning you out beyond belief because you are working so many hours and they're just taking advantage of the fact that you're not pushing back or you're not setting boundaries that are healthy for you? is it worth staying with a company like that, or is it worth maybe taking the financial hit for a little bit and seeking out other alternatives, or still work for them but put in job applications elsewhere? Is it worth having a conversation with your spouse and saying, listen, I love you, but I can't give you 2, 3, 4 hours at night. I need to trim it down and I need to get this sleep so I could be there for you, for the kids, for all that, and have that hard conversation, because again, that'll put things in perspective. It'll allow you to have a constructive dialogue and be like, okay, let's figure out a solution, not, oh, I feel so sleep deprived and feel like crap and I'm going to take it out on you. Okay, because no one wants to do that. And along with all of that, I keep saying along with all of that, I apologize. Looking down the road, health wise, are you willing to sacrifice possibly years on your health? Are you willing to deal with the fact that if you keep sleeping like crap, maybe we go down the path, because this is a big contributor. Maybe we have things happen like now we're insulin resistant, and because when you constantly deprive yourself of sleep, you're also putting yourself in a position physiologically where you're responding now like somebody who may be pre-diabetic. So now you're getting a worse insulin response, and doing that over and over and over again is going to affect you metabolically. Are you willing to put yourself in that situation? Are you willing to have higher blood pressure because you're missing out on sleep? Are you willing to have all these negative health outcomes down the road? And if you are, that's totally fine, but let's get a full scope. Let's understand the whole situation so that you can make an informed decision, because that's what at the end of the day we really need to do, is get all the facts, lay them out, see it what it is, and make a choice. Because this whole victim bullshit isn't serving anybody, and it's just driving you nuts. Let's take that control back. Because if you can do this, if you can get to that awesome place, then you will be able to fall asleep faster, get better quality sleep, not wake up as much at night, which is going to result in you having more energy, fewer cravings, better workouts, showing up better for your family, for your friends, feeling in control of your health again, and not being ruled by your hormones or your schedule. You're going to finally hit that place where it's like, okay, I am the one in the driver's seat. I call the shots. All right, so now, I put a lot out there. I went over a lot of different things, and I don't expect you to do all of them right now, because if you do, if you've listened to previous episodes, you know that's a recipe for disaster, trying to do a full 180, everything all at once. Pick one thing, just one thing, whether it's setting a bedtime ritual, or maybe setting your clothes out tonight so if you were sweat through your pajamas, you could throw a new pair on really quick, or anything like that. Maybe you cut caffeine because you heard this at 8 a.m. in the morning and you're going to stop having your caffeine at noon today instead of maybe at 3 or 4 or 5. Okay, just start with one. That's it. And if you are a huge consumer of all this information and you listen to me every single week and you still really struggle to put it to practice because you just don't have anybody holding you accountable, look into coaching. All right, the links are down below. You could set up a quick call with me to see, hey, is this even right for me? What exactly do you do? And what do you have to offer? Go ahead, set up a coaching consultation. It takes 15-30 minutes. And if anything, you just get answers, and you deserve that much. Okay, so looking forward to talking to you if you decide to do that. And if you're not quite there yet, no worries. If you heard that one point where you're like, oh, I'm not tired enough to fall asleep, how I mentioned like activity in the beginning could be the lagging indicator that gets you better sleep. If you need to start moving, go ahead and download the Toned in 20 workouts. Those can be extremely helpful, and you can pull them off at home right after work or right before work or during a lunch hour or even on the weekend. 20 minutes, just a quick circuit, get it done. You will be blown away at how good that feels doing it the first time, getting that first week or two under your belt. It can absolutely be life-changing, especially when it comes to sleep and energy. So give it a try if you haven't already. And if you have any other questions, always feel free to reach out. I'm always here for you guys. But that's it for this week. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening all the way through. I'll see you next time. But until then, go kick some ass. Bye-bye.